right, we're going to call this special meeting to order. May I have roll call?
Certainly, Mr. Antoine.
Here.
Mrs. Bonnick.
Here.
Mrs. Bowman.
Here.
Mr. Bowman. Boyer.
Here.
Ms. Chahaki.
Here.
Mrs. Eichhorst.
I'm here.
I am here.
Let's all stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
So moved.
Moved
Support.
by Rice, supported by Antoine. Any questions? Okay. Roll call. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Before we head into the meeting, I know there's quite a few of you who probably wish to speak with public comment, so we're going to give you about 2 minutes because all your slips need to be turned in prior to when we start our public comment. So I'm going to give a couple minutes for anybody to fill out those yellow slips and get them over to Mr. Murray.
Oh, yes. On it.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and start with our first public comment. I'm going to call your name to come on up, and then I'm going to say who's on deck. I'm going to start with Sarah Casper, please. And then Emily, I apologize if I'm butchering your last name, Kobachar. You will be next. You will have 3 minutes, and we'll give you a warning if you get close.
Thank you.
All right.
Good evening. My name is Sarah Casper. I live with my family at 70130 Mellon Road in Bruce Township. I'm here tonight to take my 3 minutes entitled to me, not as an activist or a developer or a politician, but as a mom. As someone raising her children in this district, as someone who wants to trust the people sitting at that table to do what's right for our kids and for our future. The land at 297 Prospect Street is not just a piece of property. It's a piece of our shared story. It was meant for learning, for connection, for something more than profit. The idea that it could be sold off to a developer like MJC, who was fined $350,000 for illegally destroying protected wetlands, feels like a betrayal of the values I thought this district stood for. They went in without permits, removed trees, dredged and filled regulated land, and they only agreed to fix it after they were sued by the state. That's not just poor judgment, that's a red flag. Now let's talk about the alternative, Green Space Romeo. This is a group made up of our own community members, parents, yep, neighbors, who care about creating space for our kids to run, learn, breathe, and grow. They raised over $600,000 in donations and pledges to buy and preserve this property. Their vision isn't about taking from the community, it's about giving back. Creating play areas, an arboretum, restoring native ecosystems, things that benefit everyone. And here's what hurts the most. GSOPS has reached out to you. They've attended your meetings, sent communications, tried to work with you respectfully and transparently, but you've barely acknowledged them. It feels like our voices, their voices, our voices don't matter. Meanwhile, inside our schools, faucets are breaking, mental health services are being cut, teachers are exhausted, kids are struggling, and yet the focus seems to be on selling off land and investing in things that sparkle on the outside instead of strengthening what's underneath. When my kids were toddlers, I used to tell them, if you want to build a tall tower, you need a big bottom. It always made them laugh, but they got it. If you don't build a solid foundation, it all falls apart. Right now, the foundation of this district feels shaky, and it's not going to be fixed with scoreboards and sales. I'm asking you, please, rethink this. Lead with vision, not fear. Listen to your community and remember that this land was what this land was always meant to be for. Thank you.
Okay, Emily, you're up, and Robin Casper will be next.
Hello, my name is Emily Kubachar. I live on 3260 Dosky Drive. It's on 32 Mile between DeQuinder and Fisher Road. I'm sure you all know where that is. Yes. So when I was a kid, my parents used to take me to Romeo a lot. And a lot of the times, they were afraid to let me out of their sight. Just because, you know, the way it goes, parents are afraid their kid's gonna get kidnapped or put somewhere not safe. But the problem is, even at parks, they were still afraid to let me be by myself. And that's not the way a child's supposed to live. So I'm here today to talk about the green space on 297 Prospect Street. It's a safe place for kids to go, to learn about their environment, and to feel safe, and to have their parents feel safe about them being there. When I was a kid, again, that's a lot of my life, you know. I'm only 17, but this is an important issue to me because when I was 7 or 8, I really connected with nature. My life, and since then, has grown around it, and I've come to love it. It means a lot to me to have children be able to have a safe space, like the green space, because it's a place where they can connect with nature. They don't have to abide by the rules of, if you're gonna put on a play, you have to do this, do this, do this. If you're gonna go plant a garden, you have to do it like this, like this, like this. It's just a place for them to be themselves, truly, and without, like, the recommendations of society. So another important thing, the MJC Land Company, they would like to buy the land as well. This is a problem that a lot of you, I'm sure, have heard about, but they recently built on illegal wetlands in 2022, and they didn't stop until they were sued for $3,500. That's a lot of money. So clearly, they're not worried about that. The Romeo School District is well off. It is. As a kid going to Romeo schools, I know we have a beautiful school system and it's wonderful, but money is not a problem to worry about. It's the safety and the needs of the kids here. I've seen kids struggling, and I know that if they were raised in a place where they could honestly just be themselves and express who they are, which the green space will do, that they could honestly just grow up and be better kids. If MJC really, really wanted to look out for the environment, they wouldn't have built on those wetlands. What's to stop them from, if you sell the land to them, what's to stop them from going and doing something wrong there? If they come into a problem, what's to stop them from ignoring it? They ignored the wetlands problem, and that's illegal. Okay, if a pipe bursts and they don't have proper infrastructure while building the house, that's gonna affect a lot of future people who live in that house. And they're not gonna be able to live there properly. MJC.
Time's up.
Okay, thank you.
But thank you. I love it when a student is brave enough to speak. Thank you. Robin, you're next. And Kristen Brewer, you are on deck.
Hello, everyone. My name is Robin Casper, and I'm speaking today in protest of the sale of 297 Prospect Street to the MJC Land Investment Company. During this speech, I will be speaking for myself with no other opinions other than my own. I am not affiliated with any other cause other than my own. While I do not disagree that selling RCS-owned land is the best interest for the school, I do not support selling this to land developers. Romeo could use the money this property would earn them from other organizations such as the Green Space, such as Romeo Washington's Bruce Parks and Recreation. However, you need to consider who you're selling to. MJC Land Investments is no regular developer. I'm specifically referring to a lawsuit filed against them in 2022 for building on 9 acres of wetland, which, as some of you may not know, is illegal to develop. While a little bit of land might be brushed off as an accident, this company built on 9 acres of wetland. They were fined $350,000, which has been documented to be one of the largest civil fines in Michigan to protect the state's wetlands. Please reference michigan.gov lawsuits on this case if you have any questions or concerns. As stated before, RCS could improve their schools and curriculum for the money that this property would give them. However, from reviewing recent tax documents, all accessible to the public through BSNA software, the RCS school district is not starving for money. They are well funded by all the people in the school district, paying property taxes and through grant money. The green space might not be the best investment for the present, but it will be for the future. As a board, you need to consider not just the present problems with the district, but future problems after you guys. Selling this property would show to everyone who is in this room what you all stand for: immediate gratification. Selling this property to developers gives you money right now and cannot be used in the future because, frankly, the property is not yours anymore. However, working together with a cause that has actively and repeatedly offered to work with RCS would be a great long-term investment and help RCS over and over into the future. The decision here tonight will be more than just money. It will be reputation and rapport throughout the community, the country, the state. People are watching from all over to see the choice you make, and you need to ensure that that is the right choice. For reference, I am 16 years old. I was the last grade to enter the old Romeo Middle School building, and even at 11 years old, I was disgusted by it being torn down. You can make it up to me and all the other students throughout the years who have lost their history in that building by making the right choice here tonight. The world is watching, so make the right choice.
All right, before we move on, I just want to urge you, we've seen the social media posts about MJC, but I would like you to refrain from disparaging any of the developers or any of the people that have put a bid in, because we did not do that. So we ask that you don't need to keep quoting the same story again. And we also are aware that it's not a wetland, and the village will also be monitoring the use of the land. So those safeguards are already built in. But Kristen Brewer, you are up, and then David Rees, you are next.
All right, thank you. My name is Kristen Brewer, and I am a volunteer on the Green Space Romeo board. I'm a member of St. Paul's Episcopal Church, which has pledged money towards the green space. We're one of the many, many, many community supporters. I'm a former special education teacher, a mom and stepmom. I still believe very strongly in the Green Space Romeo proposal, that it offers lasting educational benefit for a property that has always been used for education, has always been intended to be used for educational purposes. Once it's gone, it's gone. There are numerous subdivisions popping up everywhere, I'm sure you know, but this is a unique opportunity for the Romeo Community Schools and you as the board to have a lasting legacy of preserving this property in perpetuity as it was always meant to be used, and that's for educational use. So please reconsider and save the green space. Thanks.
All right, David, if you'd like to come up, and then Chuck Rentz will be next.
Hi, my name is David Rees. My claim to fame is that my father-in-law, Buck Ojula, wrote the fight song and the alma mater of this school, both of which I could sing. Can any of you? Okay. In 1955, I watched my, I'm sorry?
Right now?
No, question, rhetorical question. Just wondering whether you could. The fight song I don't worry about, the alma mater not many could sing. I watched my brother graduate from that building that was the high school in 1955. They walked down the sidewalk, which I believe was donated by Mr. Dombrowski, who owned the property at the time. And we'd walk down that sidewalk and into the stadium, which was the stadium, and that's where you graduated from. In 1971, my wife and I walked down that same sidewalk and graduated to her dad's orchestra playing the Romeo fight song and the alma mater. This is a completely emotional appeal, okay? I don't envy any single one of you having to make this call. But I beg you, if you're making the call, remember that Buck's grave is in the cemetery overlooking the stadium. And if you put buildings on that other than the school, he's going to roll over in his grave. And y'all think about that. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Rentz, and then Melissa Forlino will be next.
Hello, my name is Chuck Rentz, and I live in Glacier Club in Washington Township. I'm a man of few words, and that's how I know I can never be a politician. I'm here to support green space. I live on a golf course. I moved there 10 years ago, not for the golf, but for the green space. And I find that the green space there has been very beneficial to my well-being. I hope to live out my remaining days there. New York City has Central Park. They could make huge amounts of money by developing that space, but they chose not to, and for good reason. The school district could make more money by accepting MJC's offer. Green Space has presented you with a reasonable offer. The green space at Prospect could be Romeo's Central Park. I urge you to accept Green Space's offer. Thank you.
All right, Mrs. Forlino is next, and then Franco Forlino will be next.
Good evening. My name is Melissa Folino, and I live at 253 Chandler Street. It's easy to show up to a meeting and complain. It's even easier to be a keyboard warrior, often a misinformed one, on social media from the comfort of one's couch. What isn't easy is deciding to organize and mobilize a community. It's not easy to dedicate hundreds of hours over the course of nearly 2 years and donate hard-earned money toward a worthy cause. It's especially difficult on the families like ours who have small children. In our case, 3 with a 4th on the way. I can't count the number of nights I've had to explain to my now 6 and 7-year-olds who are here in the crowd why Daddy has had to miss family time to attend Green Space Romeo meetings, but we teach our children to stand up for what's important and for the things that we believe in, even if it makes your voice all choky. It's easy to vote for a shiny carrot dangling in front of you. It's not easy to swim against the current, especially when you're on a board. But if you believe in your own mission statement of embracing community while engaging, educating, and empowering students to inspire the future, then you won't vote to sell the land on Prospect Street to a real estate developer. You'll stand alongside the very same folks who have stood alongside you time and time again and voted for your bonds. This is your chance to vote for the community that's here. The neighborhood didn't have a simple bake sale. They put forth over $500,000 to save this land for generations to come. Do not be swayed by a negligible difference in dollars that ultimately equates to the cost of about 300 iPads. Do better and vote for the constituents of this community. Thank you.
Mr. Forlino is coming up, and then Thomas Ridley will be next.
Good evening. Franco Folino, 253 Chandler Street. I can't describe to you how I felt when I saw the summary of the resolutions that were going to be passed tonight online. I just don't understand. Like, what is happening here? We've been working on this together for 2 years, and then all of a sudden we're going to vote to accept MJC's bid. That's what it seems like, at least. This board has an opportunity to enable something amazing, and if we don't go in the direction of the green space, you're blowing it single-handedly. Mr. Boyer, I don't know what's important on your computer, but you have been on it for every one of these people speaking tonight. I ask that you please give me the respect and them the respect and listen to us. Something is missing here. I don't feel like the board is getting all of the information that we have prepared on Green Space Romeo. I'm asking that you vote no on the resolution, MJC's bid. The situation's going in an unacceptable direction. And you will all regret it if you vote to support a developer to build houses in that 4.5 acres. I propose you take a moment of pause to meet personally with Green Space Romeo. before you make the worst decision in the history of decisions of this Board of Education. Give Green Space Romeo an opportunity to meet with this board and speak openly and clearly about what we are offering and what this community has to gain. This is not over yet, and we can still come together as a community to solve this issue. And I don't view anyone's comments regarding the contractor as disparaging. They're the truth. If you invite this contractor into our neighborhood, their track record will come with it. In the words of safeguards are in place, is not going to make me sleep at night. And it's not going to make anybody here sleep at night. And this, we're in your neighborhood. I would never say that to you. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Ridley, you are next. And then
My own blanket?
Clark Gow, you will be after him.
You mind if I hang this over here?
Certainly.
All right. Hopefully everyone can see that. Okay, my name's Tom Ridley. I live at 307 Chandler. I'm right across from the green space. And this is the first time I've spoken since we've had new members. Last time I spoke, I said, you have a job I would not want to have, but I really thank you for doing it. Now, I just wanted to talk about the things Romeo does to contribute to the school. You have property in Romeo. You've got the administration building, Croswell School, the bus barn, the Amanda Moore, Memorial Field. All of that property, which is a lot when you add all that together, there's no property taxes being paid to Romeo. Romeo is supplying a police officer to the junior high, Officer Bauer. That means he's off from the not providing service to the town of Romeo. And the junior high is outside of the boundary of Romeo. We have 2 traffic lights at Chandler and by the school that are supplied by the village. The school, or the village, built a new sidewalk south side of 32. All of those things will continue to be supplied by Romeo, no matter how you vote. These people here are the people in Romeo that are paying for that. Now, I know it's probably an issue of money. At this point, I want to add an additional $1,000 to my pledge. So when you look at the support, the proposition from Green Space, just add another $1,000 to it. Now, that's going to put me over $6,000. I am retired military. That means I have to make choices on what I can and cannot do with that money. But this is important to me. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, if Clark Gow would like to come forward. And then Elizabeth Miller, you will be on deck. What was your last name? I probably mispronounced that.
Stow.
Oh, okay.
That's, as long as that's close.
Gee, sorry about that. Go ahead.
My name is Clark Stow, and I live at 380 Brook Drive in Romeo, Michigan. This is the second meeting I've attended to, so I was thinking that I would be able to talk under public comments after you discussed this proposition on Prospect, so I could understand, why you made a decision and know a little bit more about it. But I guess it's the other way around. Anyway, my wife and I moved to Romeo for 3 basic reasons. Its uniqueness, it had a good school system, and a progressive school board. I'm hearing that 2 out of 3 isn't all bad, but because I'm hearing that you're about to make a decision that is going to ruin Romeo's uniqueness. And if you look around, there aren't very many communities that are as unique as Romeo is. It doesn't have any parks. Other schools, and I don't mean schools, but other communities around are building parks and things, and we have an opportunity to have one of our own, a unique one. So I hope you look deep down in your souls when you get ready to vote, because it's just not money, and you don't want to ruin a uniqueness of a village by making the wrong decision. Thank you.
All right, Elizabeth Miller, you are up next, and she will be followed by Michael and Megan Human. I'm assuming you're coming together, or just one of you.
Hi, are my time started now? Okay. I've been at a lot of podiums, behind a lot of boards, and I don't get nervous often, but I'm a little nervous tonight. I'm not quite sure why, but that's okay. I'm coming. I've been trying to figure out all day what I would say that hasn't already been said. I went for a walk in the woods to try to clear my head at one of our supporters' properties that is an incredible space up in Bruce Township. And then I remembered this necklace that I'm wearing today. It was given to me by a dear friend and mentor who is present here tonight. She knows who she is. It's a mustard seed. There's a Bible verse that says, if you have faith of a mustard seed, you can move mountains. Little did I know that just an hour later, we would get that phone call from Fox News Detroit, and the rest is sort of history. But yet, the last 2 years have been a whirlwind. I stand in awe of the support of the community for this project, that is for this property that is beloved by so many. Only 7 of you will ultimately determine the fate of this property. These are my neighbors, my friends, business owners, and even my daughter is here. She's gone to school with some of your kids, people sitting behind that table. She helped your kids in band and various things. All of her years were here. We moved here when she was 4.5 years old, and it's been 19 years that we've lived. Our kids literally walked uphill both ways to school, in the snow, in the rain, in the sleet. And yes, Aleida, I made you. You didn't get to go to. You didn't have to walk to school. You got to. I decided what I would share with you tonight, and I'm probably going to get buzzed, and I understand that. Some of the visuals, and after all, we're all educators here, right? Moms and dads, we're educators, even if we don't have those degrees. So we've put these things up like this. Donations welcomed. We have a resident, a supporter of one of the churches went around and collected dollars that were then brought to Donna Folan's house in an envelope, dollar bills and coins. These stickers are over cars all over the country, not just in Romeo. This packet, this Place Matters event at the Abbey, last year, April 19th, hundreds of people came to that. We were sold out. Ed Kiefer wrote a song, This Place Matters. This year, the Goodfellows featured it in their magazine that was given out all over the place. Got an extra copy if anybody wants one. The Detroit News, a couple months ago, Monday, March 17th, multiple articles in the Record. Jesse, who owns Pastime Tattoos, took this and donated these, and they were sold. And last but not least, these posters were everywhere.
The next few seconds, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. All right, Michael and Megan Human, and then next will be Mary Meisner.
Good evening. My name is Megan, and we live at 308 Prospect Street. My name is Megan. This is my husband, Michael, and my daughter, Claire. I'm a member of the Romeo Monday Club, and I'm also a nursing professor at both Oakland University and Macomb Community College. Education and giving back are definitely two of my top passions and priorities. I'm here today to speak on behalf of Claire, because the decisions made now will shape her future and her upbringing. As the saying goes, it takes a village to raise a child. I hope Romeo is a place that she will choose to return to after college, a place where she can build her own family and contribute to a thriving, supportive, and historically quaint community. I hope my daughter can feel the same sentiment about this small village and understand why her grandparents and her parents moved to raise their families here. I strongly urge you to decline the RFP that is going to a vote tonight. While financial considerations are important, money is not everything. This decision must reflect what truly serves the best interests of our community, not just in the short term, but for generations to come. As a community, we should be committed to making this place better than what we found it. A place of long-term growth, education, and opportunity, not just pursuing short-term gain. Please stand with the community you represent. Choose the path that ensures a stronger, brighter future for families and the children that are currently in Romeo, and for the many who will follow. Whatever decision is made, I do want to extend my sincere thank you to the board. This process has allowed me to build a stronger relationship with my neighbors and the Romeo community. And while the outcome matters deeply, I know that my community will continue to support one another and keep the best interests of this village and young families like mine at heart. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Mary Meisner, if you'd like to come forward, and that will be followed by Aleda Miller.
Okay, the acronym RCS, the middle C, belongs to community. And without community, without unity in community, there is no community. Some of my presentation is questions for this board, and I don't know how many of you even know what kind of assets you have, but I've always questioned many times, what about the 35 acres at 29 and Mound next to the Bradbury Sub, where a bare lot is selling for $300,000, and you possibly could be voting to sell this land for an upbeat of $300,000. Another thing that troubles me is the Washington Historical Museum is leased to them for $1 a year. The property that the Craig Blacksmith shop sits on school property adjacent to the administration building, $1 a year. What about the Prospect Street property? Then this whole thing, since the very beginning, I'm very skeptical. For 2 years before the first RFP for Chandler and Prospect Street, members of this Citizens Committee were asking the superintendent, what's going on with the property on Prospect Street? The answer was nothing. Then when the RFP came about, he said, been working on it for 2 years. Also, that a consultant had gone door to door in that area and contacted people to see how they felt about it. That's not true. No consultant went to any household in that area, because most of the people in that area, in those households, are part of the citizens group. No one was contacted by a consultant. But anyway, board, I ask you, each one of you, what does community really mean to you? You can show us tonight. Thank you.
Aleda Miller is coming forward, and she will be followed by Charles Turner.
Good evening. My name is Aleda Miller. I grew up on 227 Chandler Street in the village of Romeo. I'm a 2020 alumna from RCS. A few of you sitting in front of me know me personally. I am grateful for the opportunity to speak to you today, but frustrated by the subject upon which this conversation rests. Can I move this? Okay. I'm deeply concerned by Resolution 51 to accept an offer from MJC Land Investments. Let me ask you this. Have you done your research on this company? Are you aware of their ignorance and refusal to follow protocol with the Environmental Great Lakes and Energy and the Natural Resources and Environmental Protection Act? Have you read about their 9 acres of destroyed wetlands in Macomb County? If you had done your homework, you would have found that they were fined and forced to remediate the damage they had caused and return 13 acres of that property into a conservation easement, whereas Green Space Romeo, their goal is to preserve and protect this property as is. I currently work for the Clinton River Watershed Council, educating and recommending green stormwater infrastructure projects to homeowners. Residents that understand the impact of their infrastructure make an effort to change it. They care. It is my sincere hope that you understand this. The decision you make regarding the future of this property will have implications on our natural resource access for future generations to come. As a young professional in the natural resources and conservation world, it is fact that pollinator habitat is declining rapidly with the increase in residential construction. It is fact that as more impervious surfaces are created, stormwater runoff picks up pollutants and ends up in our waterways. The question is, do you know and understand the implications of these facts? What do you want your children's future to look like?
Make it possible for this property to be a place where children grow up to going to with their families, for everyone to learn about and celebrate pollinators, history, indigenous connections, green infrastructure, and green space in Romeo. Thank you.
Mr. Turner is coming up, and he will be followed by Kim Voss.
Good afternoon. My name is Charlie Turner. I have a farm at 6621 33 Mile Road, about 1.25 miles as the crow flies from the land we're talking about. I stood before you back in February, and I clearly recall opening the conversation by saying I totally understood the fiduciary responsibilities that falls on the shoulders of each and every one of you. I also then went on to do my level best to describe the merits of keeping this a green space, to tell you all about it, and clearly I have failed in that effort. That being said, I want to digress back to the idea of your fiduciary responsibility. The situation with a contractor alone, and I'm not going to disparage anybody, is enough of a red flag for you guys to pump the brakes right now, take a breath, and make sure you're heading in the right direction. GSOPS has done an excellent job of putting, I think, a very competent program in front of you. They've done a great job in going to the community and raising north of $500,000. I know it's not as much as a developer, but there's more to this than money. And you've just got to, this moment when it's gone is gone. And someday you don't want to look back and say, you know what, I screwed that one up. This is something it doesn't exist, a park in the middle of a small town like Romeo anymore. It is almost a thing of the past. And the opportunity to do it now should not be squandered. But the situation with the red flags you've got on the direction you're talking about verge on not good things, as I look at all of your faces, of having done enough due diligence on the company that you're considering moving forward with. I ask you, pump the brakes, take a breath, take another look at this, and let's reconvene. At the end of the day, this would be the hope, my hope for the property. Not a bunch of high-end houses that don't match anything in that part of our community. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right. Kim Voss, if you'd like to come forward, and then Donna Folan will be next.
My name is Kim Voss. I live at 247 North Fremont Street. I am part of the Board of Directors for Green Space, and I have spoken to you before. I have also been to many of your meetings, including your strategic plan meeting, which was in March. I am very interested in what this district does. I've been dedicated to public education for 40 years. For 30 years, I was a teacher, a high school teacher. I taught history. For the next 10 years, I was both a building principal and a district administrator. So I do understand all of the different things that you have to take into consideration when you make decisions. I also understand the politics of education. Don't always like it, but I do understand it. I can honestly say I do not understand the resolution you are about to vote on. I would like to go back to the December 2024 meeting where you chose to reopen the RFP process. And at that time, you read a statement to justify this decision. In the statement, you said that Green Space of Romeo had failed to turn their offer in to purchase the green space on time. We did not take issue with that because it was true. We were tardy in turning in our offer. But I wonder if you know, because we did not make it public at this time, or at that time, but I wonder if you know that our leadership team had been assured that that November date was not hard and fast. We continued throughout that time period to communicate with your leadership team what we were doing to make sure that when we did make an offer, it was a valid offer, that it was a legal offer, that it was a legitimate offer in your eyes. We formed a nonprofit. We filed for tax exemption status. We did a lot during those days. And when we turned in the offer, we were stunned to learn that it wouldn't be considered simply because it was late. Another thing that I have to be honest with you about is that we were told that there would be a public survey to find out what the people in this community felt about the sale of this land. Your own consulting team that you hired did not carry out that survey. When we asked why not, we were told that they had forgot. Now, despite the fact that that seems kind of incredible to us because, number one, it had been stated that it would be done, and number two, who makes a decision as big as this without finding out how the people in their community feel about it? So we were surprised by that, but again, we did not make that public. Instead, we chose to conduct a survey of our own, and we put it on social media. We opened it to everyone, and in Appendix B of the offer that we made, we showed you not only the results of that survey, but a petition with over 700 signatures and also many, many, many letters of support.
Thank you. If you could wrap it up in the next few seconds.
So I hope you will take a look at that. Last, I just want to say I attended your strategic planning meeting, and I fully support all 3 strands of that strategic plan. But I question how you think you can build your relationship with your community when you're not listening to us.
Dala Fullen wants to come forward, and then Rob Wing will be next.
Good evening. The Appendix B that Kim referred to, I have some printed copies of that, if we may bring them forward. My name is Donna Fullen. I live at 252 Church Street. I'm also the chair of Green Space Romeo. And first of all, I was saying, in 25 years, I've been in land conservation, nonprofits, local governments, and I've never seen a movement like this. So what I'm asking you is, before you consider the resolution this evening to sell the 297 prospect to a land development company, to try to, really see who we are. And one thing we are is we're not just a bunch of NIMBYs, not in my backyards, who want to stop development. Our focus has not been stopping development, even though that's what we're talking about tonight. And if it was that, we're talking a couple dozen people who live in, who that would be in their backyard, including my backyard, I confess. But also, we've been here, and for the past 2 years, we want to build something. We want to build something for the community. We want to build something with you all. And our numbers, which Kim just mentioned, we had, of the surveys that were completed, 318, 95% of those, thought green space was the best option, and 83% of those responses came from residents of the RCS communities. We have, over 20 letters in here, including from Washington Township, Bruce Township folks, from Parks and Recreation, signed by all of the Parks and Recreation Commission. And I also want to say that we're not just, I have an email list of 700 people after I take out all of the board members of various boards and stuff. These are all folks, these are a lot more than the folks you see here tonight, the folks that usually show up and have something to say. So what I would really like to do is I would like to speak on behalf of the people who don't attend meetings, who are not volunteering, but who we hear from all the time. And I hear from folks who are not planning to volunteer, they're not donating, but they really want to enjoy this space. They want to be able to walk there with their grandkids. They want it to be there. And that is the large mass of people that are supporting this effort, in addition to all of us that you see here. And this effort is not in isolation. I mean, Trust for Public Land supports reports that in 2024, there were ballot initiatives throughout the country to support parks and recreation and open space with public funding.
If you could
that
wrap
would
up,
save
Ms.
over.
Boland, in the next 20 to 30 seconds, I'd appreciate it.
84% approval across the United States. So I am joining everybody in asking you do not approve tonight's resolution, that you reconsider, and that we build something together for the community. And I thank you very much for the time.
Thank you. All right. If Rob Wing would like to come forward, and then next we will wrap up with our last public comment. For this first public comment time, it will be Ashley Gottschall. I think I said that wrong. But Mr. Wing.
Board of Education, fellow residents, I think I could stand up here right now and say nothing, because the number of public comments that we've heard tonight says it all. My wife and I live at 260 Church Street. Green space is literally in our backyard. Now, let's first go back a little bit. Let's go back 2 years. What happened? And I'm not here to badmouth anybody, but the truth is the truth. I had contacted the superintendent in various different ways and heard nothing. No transparency at all. Maybe water under the bridge, but it did happen. Luckily, one of our residents heard about the sale and put in people's doors little slips of paper, we got to get together. And then Green Space was formed. When I tell people the amount of money that we have gotten, they are amazed, absolutely amazed, that a group and people in Romeo and people that have lived here and have interest could raise that much money. How long did it take for the for sale sign to go up? Forever. Look at our support. Look at the financial commitment we have received. We have letters from alumni. We have letters from all over the country. The difference, plus or minus 200 grand, okay. The ability of Green Space to educate youngsters what they can do is something that is endless. And that's something that board members, please think very deeply about, because once that green space is gone, it's gone. And while I know you don't like people to talk about MJC, it's a reality. I'm not even going to talk about wetlands. I did a little bit of research. I looked up reviews. Usually when you look up reviews, because who knows how true they really are, especially when they're positive, that's it. They're usually positive. I was amazed at the amount of negative ones. I'll let you do your research. But let's think very, very hard about this, because once a decision is made, it's done. So please think very, very carefully about your decision tonight, and thank you for the opportunity to speak to you.
All right, we will finish up with Ashley.
Yes, thank you so much. So I just quickly, I work in data research in the tech industry, specifically in the wellness tech industry. And the numbers, anybody here can Google it, but the numbers of people, of students with mental well-being needs is astounding. And I'm also a mom of 3. I'm on 245 Chandler Street, and I know the mental and physical health impacts of having nature, having a green space for not just my kids, but for all the kids in our community, and for older generations too. It's another part of our community that's really important to my kids, because we don't have grandparents close by. They mean a lot to us. And for the people in our community, our kids, our older generations, to have this access to just a green space is extremely important. And I also wanted to mention that I know how important sports are. I personally love sports. I grew up playing sports. They're really important for this community as well. But for us, 2 of our kids are not sports driven, and they're just, they're not sports kids. For them, nature is their thing. They are driven by nature. They're passionate about nature. They go run outside in the rain, collect bugs, collect sticks. I mean, it's incredible. And I think that is a part of our kids, in this community that we need to remember when it comes to decisions like this. But, I would say just quickly, I didn't really prepare, but most of all, what I want to say is that our kids really do deserve this. Out of all of us, it's our kids, it's our future generations that deserve this space out of everybody. And I know this is a once-in-a-lifetime kind of decision for, to make tonight, and I really hope that we can come together on this and just make the one that's right for our kids. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time.
All right, if any of you have any further public comment, you are welcome to fill out a yellow slip for the second public comment. That will be near the end of the meeting. We are going to move on with our action items for tonight. So, everyone can, I know you've had just short of a week to look through all of the packet and a lot of these things we've been discussing over a few months. So I'm going to begin with action item A, Employee Services number 46. This is the tentative agreement with Teamsters 214 for our Romeo Directors and Supervisors Association. This was referenced in page 3 and 4 of your packet on what positions and tiers these include. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Bonnick.
Support.
Support by Antoine. Any questions? Comments? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion passes. Okay, moving on to item B, Employee Services number 47, which is also a tentative agreement, but this is with Teamsters 214 Romeo Executive Leadership Association, and this was referenced, what positions these include on page 5 through 8 of your packet that you received last week. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Support. Moved by Boyer, supported by Bowman. Any questions? No. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes. Item C, Business Services 48. This is in reference to the Macomb Intermediate School District biennial election. This is not something we necessarily, we vote on it, but we need a representative to go to the June 2nd meeting, and then we need an alternate. So I am willing to be the representative unless someone else is absolutely dying to do it. I know we also have a curriculum subcommittee meeting that night, but there's a window of opportunity where any of us could go and cast the vote on behalf of our board, which we'll be discussing between now and then. So if anybody is opposed to me being the alternate or to me being the representative?
No, and if something comes up, I have a hold on my calendar, so I can backfill if needed.
Do I have any, so would you be willing to be the alternate then? Is that what you're saying?
Unless someone else wants to,
No,
but
that's
I'm not on.
graduation week.
Yeah, I'm not on curriculum,
I know it's
so.
Graduating.
It's a busy week. Good. All right, so then the motion will be that I will be the representative at that June 2nd meeting at the MISD, and in the event I cannot, Anita will take my place.
So moved.
Okay.
Support.
Moved by Boyer, supported by Antoine. Any questions? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Item D, Businesses Services, number 49, the West Michigan Insurance for the pool.
Motion.
Any motion by Antoine?
Support.
Support by Bowman. Any questions? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, opposed? All right, motion passes. Item E, Businesses Services 50, the Food Service Supervisor. I know this was discussed at length over a couple different meetings for finance.
Motion.
A motion by Rice.
Support.
Support by Chahaki. Any questions? No. Discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes. And then that brings us to our last one of the night, item F, business services number 51, for the sale of the 297 Prospect Street.
Motion.
Support.
Motion by Rice, support by Bowman. Any questions? All right, I have a statement that I'm actually going to read. It's quite lengthy, so please be patient, but it is a statement that the board, along with Dr. Robinson, prepared, and it just really shows the timeline because this whole process has actually spanned over 3 different school boards. So this began back in September 26, 2022, when most of us were not even on this board yet, but that is when the board at that time approved Resolution 71 to issue an RFP for the sale of 297 Prospect Street. In April 2023, district leadership, along with Great Northern Consulting and district legal counsel, went through the series of meetings and interviews with 4 potential buyers at the time who submitted proposals with that original RFP. A month later, on May 18th of 23, the Board of Education held a Facilities Committee of the Whole meeting that included an opportunity on the agenda for Mr. Corey and the group of concerned citizens who had formed by then to address the board members in regards to their concerns for the sale of the property. So 2 years ago already. Moving on that summer, in July 24th, at our July 24th, 2023 meeting, the Board of Education did not take action on a resolution which would have authorized the administration at that time to enter into a purchase agreement with Clearview Homes. At that time, the board voted to take a pause and, because we had heard the citizens and we wanted to hear more and give some time to that. That fall, November 13th, at 2023, the Board of Education passed Resolution 91, which stated the following. The school district's Board of Education hereby desires to end the RFP process, reject any and all proposals submitted through the process or otherwise, and pause any future RFP process through June 1st of 2024, unless a viable offer is brought to the board by community members, which the board elects to consider at a public board meeting. This resolution was passed unanimously with the intent of giving the citizens group an opportunity to organize a viable offer and acquisition strategy to purchase the property at 297 Prospect. So that was in the fall of 2023, giving them approximately 7 to 8 months. A week later, the superintendent and board president made a presentation to the Village of Board Trustees meeting, updating them on the status of the pause of the sale of the property, lessons learned, and stating that the district would step back for 6 months to allow the residents and the entity that would govern the future of the property to work together, which is the village. Following that spring, May 16, 2024, the Board of Education held a special meeting for the purpose of allowing the now GSOPS group to present an update to their progress toward purchasing the property prior to the June 1st deadline. The GSOPS group requested an extension until September 1st of that same year to be able to present their offer to purchase. After meeting in closed session on that evening in May of last year, the Board of Education subsequently passed an amended Resolution 91 that provided an extension until November 1st, which gave the GSOPS group 2 additional months than what they asked for. The amended resolution would require monthly milestone meetings and an authorized district leadership to go out for a new RFP in January of 25 should there be no viable offer by the November 1st deadline. So between July and October of last year, district leadership held 5 milestone meetings with the GSOPS leadership as outlined in Resolution 91. They sought understanding, supported the development of milestone reports to the Board of Education, which we did all get and read, and provided updates to us each month. So that brings us to October 14th of last fall, 2024. The board held a workshop meeting in which the agenda included an opportunity for the GSOPS group to update the board on their acquisition strategy and potential offer to purchase. And if you recall that many of you were here, most of the agenda was presented to you to have that opportunity to present to us, and all of us were in attendance. An official memo dated October 7th, 2024 was presented that stated the group was exploring selling one of the 3 parcels to help support their funding efforts. The memo also said that the group would present a formal offer or letter of intent no later than November 1st, 2024. So that date came. The district did not receive any formal offer or letter of intent to purchase by the GSOPs by the deadline stated in the amended Resolution 91 from the May 16th meeting. December 3rd, 2024, legal counsel from Green Space Romeo sent an offer to purchase the district's legal counsel for the amount of $602,000, which included a contingency on needing to acquire a mortgage for a portion of their offer. The offer requested a warranty deed on limiting the use of only the largest parcel for the purpose of creating a green space. The remaining 2 parcels that make up the full property would have no restrictions. A week later, on December 9th, the Board of Education held a special meeting and met in closed session for a legal opinion to review that December 3rd offer. A formal statement was read by Board President at that time, Anita Bonick, when the board returned out of open session, or opened to open session, clarifying the board's position in the amended Resolution 91 from the May 16th, 2024. Now we are up to this past new year, January of 2025. The district published a new RFP for the purchase of 297 Prospect with a deadline of March 14th, 2025. 2 for sale signs were placed on the property to further inform any interested community members. April 2025, district leadership, Great Northern Consultant, and district legal counsel went through a series of meetings and interviews with 3 potential buyers of the property who submitted proposals to the purchase. This included Clearview Homes, MJC, who had comparable financial proposals with unique site plan options, which we have all seen and studied at this point. The 3rd proposal was from the GSOPs group, whose financial offer was $520,000 with a site development plan to create a green space, which we have all seen. That brings us to April 28th, 2025. The Board of Education met in closed session to review the proposals and consider a recommendation for the sale of the property. The board has remained committed to the conditions of the actions that have taken place over the past 32 months. They have had open communication and provided time for meetings with and presentations from the GSOPs group over the past 16 months. However, it is important to note that the district and Board of Ed also have a fiduciary responsibility not only to this group, but also to the larger community and all constituents in regard to the asset at 297 Prospect Street, or as many of us know as the old middle school site. I just, board members, you can chime in here. I was not here on the board when the very original RFP was issued, but I was one of the board members that in 2023 questioned exactly what you spent the last hour speaking of. I felt a lot of the same emotion about not wanting to give up that green space. I felt the pressure of when I first saw some of the site plans and what they wanted to do there. And I was one of the people that voted to put a halt to it. So I do understand where you're coming from, absolutely. A lot of you hit, a chord tonight, and I know exactly how you feel. But over the past 2 years, I think, and I'm speaking for myself at this point, we've given extensions. We've given more than enough time. We have had open communications. I've read every single one of your emails that you've sent. If you sent a link to a meeting that was recorded, I listened to it, even though some of them were, basically putting us down. That's okay. I understand the emotion of the situation. So just to let you know, I don't take this decision lightly. I have lost sleep over where I feel in this process. But I also know that as a board member, it is very hard. I think a couple of you referenced that tonight, that we don't get to just look at one piece of property or one piece of pie. We have to think about the needs, the financial needs of the entire district that we do serve. And that is sometimes a hard burden to bear, but it is our job. So that is why I will be supporting this resolution tonight.
Can I add? I just wanted to add, before I was on the board, I was a parent in the audience listening to what was going on, not always understanding what was going on behind the board table. So I know what it's like to be in that seat versus being in this seat now. Now that I'm on the board, I've read every email. I've listened to every meeting. I put them on when I'm driving. I think you all would be quite surprised at the amount of things I do listen to and do read. I'm pretty well known up here for doing a lot of the research and having all my T's crossed and I's dotted.
one of the meetings, it was referenced that none of us were educators. A lot of us up here are educators. Some of us have degrees in education, some of us are substitutes, some of us teach elementary school, some of us have worked in education in the computer industry, the tech industry, some of us have managed educational areas. So I took offense to that only because we care greatly about this district, we care greatly about these kids, we care greatly about our community, and a lot of us do know what we're looking at, what we're talking about, especially when you guys are standing there. We understand completely where you're coming from, because not only are we a part of this community, some of us have worked in this community in the educational buildings here, some of us have worked in other districts, and some of us still work in buildings in other districts. I just want you all to understand that we do care deeply, and we do understand a lot of the things you've said at those podiums, a lot of the letters we've read. We do care deeply, and it's not an easy decision. So I just want you all to understand that we are very well versed in a lot of this, and we care. I think we care more than you realize.
I have a comment as well. We do very much care about this district and the 5,600 children that attend Romeo Community Schools. Not all of them, actually most of them don't live in the village of Romeo. Somebody had made the comment that the C, I think Mary, it was the C is community, and she said, what does community mean to us? And to me personally, community is made up of families and children, and a lot of the other comments that I heard tonight was, think about this as a short-term gain. I feel very strongly that the addition of families in the village of Romeo is not a short-term gain. The families that are going to move into these homes are going to attend Romeo Community Schools, and they want to live in the village of Romeo because it's so unique. And I feel like the kids that are going to grow up there are going to need to feel the uniqueness of it, and it's not a short-term game for them. The $500,000 in additional funds will service the 5,600 children as a whole. It's not just a couple of $100,000, it's a $500,000. So the fiduciary bottom line, I guess, is important. It is really important to the entire community of children that attend and will attend Romeo Community Schools.
I think the last, I agree with my colleagues here. The last piece I would say is it's not for naught. We do have other pieces of property. We do have spaces that we might still be able to work in partnership with and do something with. So I just think, you know, your passion can still be the same as our passion, and we can still meet. While no words are going to make you feel better that 297 Prospect isn't going to be the place of it. It could be somewhere else. It could be connected to one of our buildings. I mean, we still have time and ways that we can go about that. So I think it's important to know that we're still willing to work on something of this nature if you know, the space, if we have space and we can meet in the middle on that. The last thing I would say is, unfortunately, as Allison mentioned, most of us are educators. Most of us come in here wearing the education hat. Unfortunately, you know, the people that are elected to decide on your spaces, the village, those folks, you know, we went to them. That's why I stood at their podium to say, your residents have spoken. They want this to be something else. And, you know, it's unfortunate that we continue to take the heat for that, when if they really wanted it to be what you guys wanted it to be, they could have done that. And that is unfortunate. And it doesn't make it feel any better, but that's just one entity that we work with, and we have many others. And so it would be unfortunate for us to just rise up to one and not really look at the whole pot together. So hopefully you can kind of see it's just as difficult sitting over here. Not kidding.
I would also add that just looking at the first site plan, that was very uncalled for, sir.
Yeah.
The first site plan versus now, I mean, I did look at that. It did make me feel a little better, because it is less homes, which is, a lot of you said to me, in private conversations. Excuse me, sir. Please, do not interrupt me, please. We are being very gracious having this discussion. We could take a vote right now. Why don't we take a vote? Okay. Take a vote. The density was reduced, which a lot of you said to me in private. I understand there's probably going to be development there, but I just want it to be less. And I said that is what I will fight for. And that is what I did. All right. All of your opinions matter, and we have given 2 years to this process.
Give more. The timeline doesn't matter. Give more. Take a vote.
Okay.
It's 300 iPads.
We're going to take a vote.
No, public comments over.
What about the fine by the environmental
Okay. Business Services 51.
Don't do this.
We are going to, do I have a motion?
Motion.
You already had a motion.
Support.
Yep. Oh, that's right. Please remind me. Mr. Forlino, you need to stop. We've already made the motion. I'm going to have Mrs. Rice restate it since it's been a while since we made it. Go ahead.
Motion.
Motion by Rice, and who supported? Bowman supported.
Yep.
All right, we are going to take roll call for this vote. Can I have roll call?
Mr. Antoine?
Yes.
Mrs. Bonnick?
Yes.
Mrs. Bowman?
Yes.
Mr. Boyer?
Yes.
Mr. Hockey?
Yes.
Mrs. Eichhorst?
Yes.
I'm a yes.
Motion passes. I do not have any further slips for public comment, so we are going to.
Wait. Rob does. Rob does.
Oh, all right, thank you. All right. All right, ma'am, we are going to move on to the second public comment. You are welcome to sit and listen, or you are welcome to leave. Mr. Forlino, you are speaking again. We will give you 3 minutes, followed by Melissa Forlino.
Folino.
And Robin Casper will be last. All right, go ahead.
The timeline is what it is. You know, I don't know how to put together a bid to buy property from a Board of Education. Neither do my neighbors. That's not in our bag of tricks. We did our best to figure it out. We're talking about days of misunderstanding here. We were told it was a soft deadline. That was said by Ms. Voss. 7-0. Not one of you felt that this was worth standing up for? Not one. The worst decision in the history of decisions for this Board of Education. This community will never band together like this again for anything of this stature ever again. And you guys failed. You said you're educators, where you are failing to educate our children on the number one important aspect of being an American, community. Community. And you failed. And you're a veteran. You should know better.
Excuse me, we will not tolerate.
Don't tolerate that.
No, we
Mr.
will not
Folino, you are out of line.
We
You've
will
been
not
aggressive.
tolerate you pointing
That
out
is enough.
individual members. Sorry. Okay. We are going to move on to Melissa Folino. And Robin Casper will be the last public comment slip because I don't have any more.
My husband's not aggressive.
Okay,
He
okay,
wears-
this is the last public comment. You have had plenty of time to fill out these slips. I will not be accepting one after this one.
He wears a uniform to protect these people's rights and yours as well. To speak, to have a right to be here, to assemble, to work together. He leaves for months at a time. And it's really, really hard. You know what else is hard? Is not knowing, like he said, how to do this job of putting together a proposal, of gathering people to reach a decision. And I'm so flippin' proud of these people for doing what they did, and I'm so ashamed. I feel like pulling my children out of this district and homeschooling them because I can do a better job than the people who are in charge of this district. Shame on you.
Okay. Robin Casper and then Steve Mellon will be the last one.
I am mad. This is not something that I am actively for. I do not support development. I have stated my claim before, and This, and I've written letters, I am mad. I am not a political person, but this has made me take a stand, and I am mad that none of you are seeing how important this is to not just me as a student in your district, but to everyone around you. You call yourself educators, listen to the students speaking, not the adults. I am telling you that this is the right choice, and you made the wrong one.
No, we are not.
Well, they were just, may I please make a
Nope, we gave plenty of time. You are welcome. We have another meeting in 2 weeks. You are welcome to come to public comment. I've given the warning a couple times.
I didn't have a pen.
No,
I still pay
we read the
taxes.
rules at the beginning. We are
Well, I
not
guess
taking
while I'm
any
already
more.
standing
And
here, I just wanted to say thank you to
Mr.
everybody
Steve
who had
Mellon,
organized
you're
with Green
next.
Space. I think I actually want to
Mr.
share my own
Steve
personal
Mellon, you're
experience. I am
next.
a resident within Romeo, but I actually grew up in Rochester.
Mr. Steve
Rochester has an
Mellon, please come
extremely
forward,
unique
going
design
once,
that we
going
actually
twice, or you will not
had
be
a
able to speak
partnership.
anymore. Because you were next in line, and ma'am, you're cutting in front of him rudely.
I tried.
I know.
You are welcome to come back,
Okay, you
ma'am,
wanna
to
get
the
this
next
crowd
meeting
mad?
in 2 weeks, on Tuesday,
did
the
the
last
right thing.
Tuesday in May.
You
Please
did
go
the
ahead.
appropriate and right thing. They did a great job raising money. Can they keep that up for the next 50 to 100 years? It's going to cost them $20,000 to $30,000 a year in property taxes, maintenance, and insurance. It's not the school's job to make parks. It's the school's job to be fiscally responsible with what they've got. You got an offer in your hand of $500,000. They had more than 2 years to come up with $500,000. They didn't. And can they keep that for the next, like I say, 50 years? I know this only because I spent the last 50 years in property assessment administration. I was the county equalization director. I've worked with school districts countywide, statewide. I've worked with the governor's office. Your job is not to make parks. Your job is to keep the education running. And $500,000 is a heck of a lot, because out of all these people, every one of them, I'll bet, complained to somebody else when their property tax bills come in, whether it be in the village of Romeo, Washington Township, Bruce Township. None of them say, hey, I got the best property tax bill in the world. I don't even say that. I assessed my own house for 35 years. So you did the right thing, fiscally, financially. That's the way it's got to go. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mellon, for being brave to say that. There's a lot of people that feel that way, but they are not, they are fearful to come and say that. So they have said that to me personally. So, but we thank you.
I
Can
make
I
a
have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Support.
For Antoine.
Support by, or motion by Bonnick, support by Antoine?
Yeah.
May I have roll call?
We're eating.
Mr. Antoine.
Yes.
Ms. Bonnick. Mrs. Bowman.
Yes.
Mrs. Bowman.
Yes.
Mr. Boyer.
Yes.
Ms. Chahaki.
Yes.
Mrs. Ikorst.
Yes.
I'm a yes.
Did she call me?